Good morning and welcome to First Unitarian Universalist Church of Nashville. My name is Karina Daza. It is my pleasure to welcome you to our online worship. Our collaborative pianist today is Holling Smith-Bourne. If you are watching live, buttons will appear that will bring you to our website. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, visit firstuunash.org and click on the With You Worship portal button for all of the information you need to participate in today's worship, including the order of service, joys and concerns, and our offering. Won't you now join me in singing our opening hymn, number 1031, Filled with Loving Kindness.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be whole.
I invite you now to connect with your neighbors being online with us. Say hello here.
Good morning. I'm Gail Spar, and I'm a member of the Worship Committee. The words for our chalice lighting this morning were written by Lisa Doge. Why a chalice? The question comes. It's the cup of life, we answer. A cup of blessings overflowing. A cup of water to quench our spirit's thirst. A cup of wine for celebration and dedication. The flame of truth, the fire of purification. Oil for anointing, healing. Out of chaos, fear, and horror, thus was the symbol crafted a generation ago. So may it be for us in these days of uncertainty, sorrow, and rage, and a light to warm our souls and guide us home.
Good morning. I am the Reverend Diane Dowgiert, Developmental Lead Minister here at the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Nashville. My pronouns are she, her. The words for our call to worship this morning were written by Erica Hewitt. Some of us are bringing our best selves to this space, and some of us are bringing our struggling selves, including pieces we might be ashamed of. All of us are welcome here, and all of us are loved. Some of us have already opened our hearts, and some of us aren't quite there yet, because our hearts have gotten a little beat up this week and might have forgotten how to trust and open. Your heart is welcome here, no matter how bruised. We welcome you among us. All of us are imperfect, but we're here to drop our defenses and trust that what happens in worship is powerful and life-giving. Together, we affirm that this day and our being together can make each of us braver, more compassionate, and wiser than when we woke up this morning. We welcome you here. Come, let us worship. Today we begin our year of religious education, not with teaching, but with blessing, not with hugs, but with connection, not with ease, but with commitment, with children and youth who we love, with teachers who continue to teach, and with those who cannot teach right now, with parents who need us now more than ever, with each other. This is ministry, our shared ministry.
Good morning. I'm Marguerite Mills, your Director of Lifespan Religious Education. This is also covenant, that holy promise that is our Unitarian Universalist ground of being. We are promising each other that we will support our children and youth and those who walk with them through this year of religious education. Our programs strive to build resilience, offering support through life's tough times and encouraging each child and youth to connect with their own quest for purpose and meaning. They learn respect for others and respect for themselves. They experience spiritual practices and learn ways to center themselves, whether by sitting cross-legged and taking a few deep breaths, giving thanks before a meal, or looking up at the stars in wonder. As always, we have remarkable volunteers, and we have parents who are taking on more now than they ever have. They need us too. Please take a moment to consider how you might live this covenant with a child, a youth, a volunteer, a teacher, a parent this year. For my part, I would like to lift up the members of the Children's Religious Education Committee: Eileen Finan, Jason Plummer, Chaz Sisk, Ed Turnley, Susie Wilcox, and Jessica Young, and promise them that I will appreciate and support them in all ways that I can. Let us sit in silence for just a moment. Who will you lift up? Imagine what you will say to them. Blessed be. May it be so.
Good morning. My name is Denise Gouch, and my pronouns are she and her. I am your assistant minister, and so it is a pleasure to have gathered with you for worship. As Unitarian Universalists, our spiritual paths vary, but in this congregation, we have made a covenant together. We affirm our interdependence, celebrate our differences, and work for justice. We are a welcoming congregation, and we deepen our relationships as we serve our congregation's mission to create community, nurture spiritual growth, and act on our values in the broader world, guided by reason and compassion. I'd like to extend a special welcome to visitors worshiping with us this morning. If you are seeking a spiritual home, we hope that you may find it here. All are welcome to attend our services, and people become members of this congregation by signing the membership book and supporting the church with their time and finances. If you are considering joining the church or just would like to know more about us, please contact me, your assistant minister for congregational engagement. You can find my email address in the staff directory under Contact Us on our website, and I would love to hear from you. Following the service, we hope everyone will enjoy at least one of the online opportunities for fellowship listed in our online worship portal. And our website holds many other announcements of interest, which I hope you will read. I have been asked to emphasize this particular announcement, which is a call for auction donations. The first UU Nashville 2020 fall auction is ready for your donations. We're accepting donations of online events, services, gift cards or certificates, food and treats, and other special items. The deadline to donate is Saturday, October 3rd. Find out more on our website, firstuunash.org. You may know that we share every Sunday's collection. with an organization whose work outside our walls aligns with our values. For the month of September, our Share the Plate partner is our congregation's Room in the Inn Social Justice Action Team. You can find more about their work in our online worship portal. At the moment, we do not have the pleasure of passing physical offering bowls among us, but our finance folks have made sure that anyone, anytime can access our online donation form at firstuunash.org. If you would like to mail a check to the church, please write in the memo line how you would like your donation to be used. If you want your gift to be credited to your pledge, please write pledge. If you write Sunday offering, it will be donated to our Share the Plate partner. In this season of virtual offering bowls, we are especially grateful for the steady generosity which allows us both within and beyond the congregation to continue creating community, nurturing spiritual growth, and acting on our values. We are also deeply, deeply grateful for your presence with us, and I invite you now to join in our weekly ritual of gathered community. Following the upcoming musical interlude, we will share the joys and concerns submitted through the online form, provided permission is given on that form. All joys and concerns will be shared as usual with our lay ministry team. So I invite you now to settle for a moment wherever you are. Know that you are in a space that you have made holy simply by being there, and you are also connected with all of us across space and time through the interweb. Know that we share together whatever life brings us. And as you settle, you may become aware of certain joys, sorrows, concerns that you have brought to this gathering. And if you would like to make those present to the community, you are invited to use the Joys and Concerns form on our website. Or you may simply wish to rest in the knowing that we are all connected, that we gather to support each other. So now, come, let us listen. Nancy Ledbetter and Randy Weeks have sent joyful news. They write, "We are thrilled to welcome a new grandson, Noah Boomrar, born September 5th to Caitlin Weeks and Nabil Boomrar. Our daughter Caitlin grew up in this special church." We're thrilled to help join that celebration. Ibba and Tom Surface have a joy and a concern. They are grateful that Tom is recovering from a bike accident on Thursday. Thanks to the ER docs at St. Thomas who patched and sewed and sent us home with clear care instructions. His bike is intact too. We're also grateful that Tom and his bike, but mostly Tom, are okay. Carolyn Turner sends a concern, requesting caring thoughts to be sent to all those in the West that are dealing with the horrific fire and/or smoke, including my family members in Oakland, Helena, and Silverthorne. Holding these joys, these concerns, the sorrow for all in our world that touches so many of us. Let us join our hearts and spirits together in prayer. Spirit of life and love, we know that you are the source that connects our hearts to one another. You are the source of the welcome we provide to each other. And we need each other so much some days, some weeks. Sometimes our hearts come to these gatherings more full than other times. This week we are aware of our siblings who are suffering on the West Coast, who are afraid, who are under cover of fire and ash and smoke. We're surrounded by air that will not support life. And we are aware, too, of our four-legged and six-legged and eight-legged siblings who are also in danger this week. We are aware of the troubles of the earth. And we know with fresh urgency how deeply we are connected to our siblings, to the trees and the rocks, and the land on which we live. May our gathering be a place where we can bring who we are now, what we have felt this week. May we, because we have been able to spend time together and support each other, leave here braver, more compassionate, and wiser than we woke up this morning. May it be so. Amen.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Elaine Bailey Freed, and I am co-chair of the worship committee, and I'm your worship associate this morning. And I long for the day that I can see all of you guys in person. I really do. But for now, I have a confession to make. I have discovered that I've been hiding from myself for a long time. I mean, not like 100%, but in certain areas. I've been uncovering what is going on with this for the last few years, but then I uncovered a rather large mistake that I had to put under the category of, I was doing the best I knew to do at the time. But now I have to admit to myself that this was not true. At least it wasn't true of this particular situation. In this situation, I did know better, and I did it anyway. So I've just figured out that the general problem for me is that I have not frequently tapped my own inner knowing. I typically look to other people. I take a poll, I ask my friends, I check the internet, I look everywhere but deep inside myself. What other people thought I should do was always the answer. So I neglected to search within myself. I'm not sure what all the reasons are for this, but some have to do with my being taught growing up that meeting the needs of others was my number one goal. Knowing myself was not even an honorable mention. This is probably why the biblical saying, know your neighbor as yourself, never made much sense to me. I understood the part about loving my neighbor, but loving myself? What the heck did that mean? So, now I'm on the journey to forgive myself. Forgiving myself in this case for a particular decision, but more than that, forgiving myself for neglecting my own inner knowing. And I think forgiving yourself is really the hardest kind of forgiveness. And I also think it may be true that if you can't forgive yourself, you really can't forgive others. But first, you have to admit to yourself what you've done. That's really hard. And then there may be, and probably is, the matter of possible harm done toward another person and making amends, very much like in AA. So Reverend Diane asked me when we were chatting about this service how I would know when I had forgiven myself. And honestly, I am not sure. I think I've forgiven myself mostly, but there's something a little slippery about it. I can't find that red stamp with the 100% forgiven on it. But I've been working on this and I do feel better. And, I feel more real in my skin to have admitted this to myself. So I just keep breathing and trying to stay in my body, which I'm also learning is very important. And I'm saying to myself, Elaine, you did not do the best you could at the time. And now you're making a new promise to yourself. And it goes like this. Elaine, I promise to spend quality time to get to know you, to learn who you are and what you need. And now I'm going to forgive you for neglecting your deeper knowing and pledge to give you the love you deserve. May it be so for all of us. And now, as we move into the spirit of meditation, I invite you to settle your body more comfortably. Notice how each part of your body feels. How are the head and neck? Maybe relax those shoulders. Take a breath and release it with a sigh. Soften the belly. Relax the legs and the feet. Greet any aches or pains and gently release them. Now as you breathe and watch your thoughts come and go, releasing any thoughts you're holding on to, you might ask yourself what it feels like to encounter your inner knowing. Take just a moment to go a little deeper and find that spacious, welcoming place within yourself that knows. Pledge or renew your pledge to honor your own knowing. Blessed be, and amen.
Please join me in singing hymn number 1037, We Begin Again in Love.
There's a story that's told about Hosea Ballou, a 19th century Universalist minister who believed in universal salvation and the unconditional love of God. It's a particularly appropriate story for a rainy day here in Nashville. And some of you may have heard this story before, and others of you will be hearing it for the very first time today. The story is that when young Hosea was a child, he loved to play in the mud, which often got him into trouble with his older sisters. Hosea grew up in a small house near the edge of a forest in New Hampshire, along with his 10 brothers and sisters. Their mother died when Hosea was 2 years old, so taking care of young Hosea fell mostly to those sisters. It was they who would have to clean up after Hosea's hours spent splashing in mud puddles, making mud pies and mud dams. They spent hours cleaning mud floors, mud from the floors in the house, mud from Hosea's clothes, and mud from Hosea's hair and body. When all of the cleaning grew tiresome for the sisters, they prevailed on their father to tell Hosea to stop playing in the mud. In a stern voice, Hosea's father told him he should not play in the mud. And being the Baptist preacher that he was, Hosea's father didn't stop there. When Hosea asked why he should not play in the mud, his father answered, "Because we try to live a good life, to be kind to people and follow God's plan. We try to stay clean." From then on, Hosea tried hard to stay out of the mud, but it was hard and sometimes even impossible. He sometimes had to walk through the mud to feed pigs or gather eggs from the chickens. And since he was already dirty from doing his chores, he would then stop and play in the mud. Because his sisters loved him, they would clean the mud from his clothes, his hair, and his body. But still they complained to their father and implored him to stop Hosea from playing in the mud. "Hosea," said his father even more sternly, "you must stop playing in the mud." Hosea felt sad. He tried to stay out of the mud, at least mostly. He was sad that he had made his father angry. "Father, are you angry with me?" Hosea asked. "I am disappointed in you, and yes, a little angry," his father said. "But do you still love me?" asked Hosea in a small voice. "I will always love you, no matter what you do." The sternness in his father's voice was gone. "Even if I get muddy?" "Yes, even if you get muddy. Even if I get really, really muddy?" "Hosea, even if you get really, really muddy, I will always love you. But still, you must try to stay clean." Hosea grew up to become a Universalist minister, a very influential minister, in fact. He published what would become a foundational text for the growing movement of Universalists in America. He titled it A Treatise on Atonement. In it, he argued that the forgiveness offered by Jesus on the cross was not just for a chosen few, not just for believers, but for all of humankind. We can hear echoes of this idea in our current Unitarian Universalist principles, the inherent worth and dignity of every person, and acceptance of each other and encouragement to spiritual growth. As you might imagine, Hosea Ballew's ideas were controversial and considered to be heretical among the New England clergy of his day, who were schooled in strict Calvinist teachings of human sinfulness and depravity. When challenged about his unorthodox beliefs, Ballew would draw on the image of the muddy child. "Your child has fallen into the mire," he said, "and its body and its garments are defiled. You cleanse it and array it in clean robes. The query is, do you love your child because you washed your child? Or did you wash your child because you loved your child?" In other words, in Universalist thought, we are not loved because we are forgiven, but we are forgiven because we are loved, even when we manage to make muddy messes of our lives. You might say we are pre-forgiven, at least in the divine scheme of things. Why then is it so hard to forgive ourselves and each other? Forgiveness is a word that can feel heavy and laden with judgment about self-worth and fear of retribution and punishment, especially living in a culture such as ours, with a system of justice that is punitive rather than restorative. When we are the one who has been wronged, hurt, or harmed by another person, it can feel natural and even comforting to entertain thoughts of retribution and punishment for the offender. But when we are the one whose actions caused someone else to be hurt, we can become our own judge and jury, heaping punishment on ourselves in the form of shame, guilt, remorse, fear. Or sometimes it can go the other way. We can deny responsibility by claiming good intent or by shifting the blame to someone else. Both of these, punishing ourselves and not taking responsibility, make self-forgiveness difficult, if not impossible. The faith of our religious ancestors, like Hosea Ballew, offers a different way. The good news he and other Universalists proclaim is this: there is a love holding us, a love that will not let us go, a source of life from which we cannot be ultimately severed. We are healed by love. The mystic poet Rumi wrote, "Out beyond ideas of right doing and wrongdoing, there's a field. I will meet you there." Contrary to conventional wisdom that tells us to forgive and forget, forgiveness begins with remembering. It begins when we meet ourselves in that place of self-knowing, remembering that each of us is a beloved child of the universe, made of stardust, connected in mystery and miracle to each other and to life. Remembering means claiming our whole story, the good, the bad, and the ugly, including the times when we have made mistakes and caused harm. Remembering is an opportunity to summon up the best of who we are and pledge to make a change. It's as Brian Stevenson, who is the author of the book Just Mercy, says, when he's asked how it can be that he can be the lawyer who represents people convicted of horrible crimes. He says, each of us is more than the worst mistake we have ever made. There is a grace in the forgiveness we offer to others, a grace we can offer ourselves as well. We can forgive ourselves as we've been forgiven. It begins when we acknowledge the error of our ways, make a genuine apology for any harm we have caused, make amends where amends are possible, and do what we can to make things right. To have forgiven oneself means remembering what happened, but without feeling the sting of fear and shame the memory once carried. As for Hosea Ballew's Muddy Child, forgiveness can be a healing balm that washes away the muck and mud of the past to reveal ourselves to ourselves as persons of inherent worth, forgiven not so we can be lovable, but forgiven because we are loved. We live at a time that calls each of us to live from the best of who we are, to live from a place of what theologian Matthew Fox called original blessing. It will take all of us using the blessings we have been given to get to the other side of this pandemic. Gifts of hope and love and faith and courage and resilience. To live from the best of who we are is not easy even in the best of times. To live from the best of who we are is not easy right now. We live with tremendous uncertainty. Our lives have been upended. The stresses of isolation on the one hand and being in daily close proximity to the people we live with on the other can sometimes work to bring out the worst in who we are. When we fall short of our best, which we will, we do as our Unitarian Universalist heritage calls us to do. We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. In closing today, I invite you to once again breathe into that space where you know yourself to be loved and lovable. That grace-filled space where you can remember who you are at your core. Breathe in peace. Breathe out love. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you know the wholeness that self-forgiveness can bring. May it be so. Amen, and blessed be.
I am right now lighting a candle in loving memory of member Tom Haygood, who died on Thursday following some injury sustained during an automobile accident. Here's our candle. Our thoughts this week are with his wife, Margie May, and his daughter, Sarah Haygood. And so This will remain lit for the balance of our service.
Our closing hymn today is number 1017, Building a New Way. Won't you join me in singing?
We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free of hate and greed and jealousy. We are working to be free. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. Start with love, that is the seed. We can feed our every need. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, this world will die. Peace and freedom is our cry. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way.
The words to our chalice extinguishing were written by Elizabeth Sell Jones, and they're at the bottom of your order of service. Please join me. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
The words of the benediction were written by Cheryl Block. As we go forward into this frightening, exhilarating, confusing, miraculous world, may we offer our comfort to the afflicted, our love to those who are lonely, and our wish for all to be safe. The service has ended. May our service continue renewed.